Do you never watch Fish Addictions TV? No.
So I'm a killer, Thor.
That's what I meant. I'm not. Jim and I have only kissed.
We all hope to have the bush at some point in our life, whether it's on the water or not.
Intense.
Like a goddamn circus fire.
And now, coming at you live from the Fish Addiction Studio, your hosts, Mike Olson and Thor Skoy, with Fish Addictions, The Real Talk.
Picture Dougie in the window. Yeah. Took her off the trailer.
All right. We're live.
Check. I don't hear nothing.
Check.
Hopefully you guys can hear us maybe. Jim's halfway here.
Yeah, Jim might need to slide in just a smidge. We gotta get close.
Oh, man.
We were all so close to each other this last week.
Ooh, and we didn't shower for a week.
We all got the scent back.
Now I can hear me.
Good. Yeah, I think... Here, 1 second. We're just gonna readjust your mic. You can keep talking.
Okay. Can you all hear? Whoa.
Now you're really loud.
Yeah. Wow.
Is that good there?
Can you guys hear us out there? Ooh, start off with 41 people right off the bat.
Yeah, people want to hear about an awesome trip to Fort Peck.
Yeah, well, guys, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Thor and Mike. We got Jim and Taylor here today. Yeah, we've had it. You know what? The last time we were on, we were like, we're going to try to be more consistent. We're going to try to... But then I got the vid. I got COVID.
Well, we've been consistently inconsistent. So there's that. That counts as consistent, right?
Still consistent.
I mean, what's the difference between accuracy and precision? You know, you can be precise, but miss the target every time. Well, miss the target in the same spot every time, and it's still pretty good.
What do they say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder?
Yeah?
So hopefully you guys love us even more.
Hopefully.
I think is what I'm trying to say. But we're back. We've been going pretty consistently out on the ice, dealing with weather, doing some cool things. Taylor was a part of something that we did on Devil's Lake where we had perch, white bass, pike, and walleye. Hopefully you guys caught that one.
And it's actually we brought Taylor with.
Yeah, because he caught all the white bass.
We would not have checked the white bass off the list.
No. Well, it would have taken us longer for sure.
I think the unwanted species sometimes just find me, though.
Well, that was wanted.
But you wanted him. You woke up drooling.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, that was the day we were after him. So.
I love white bass. I don't know. Springtime and now wintertime. That's the first time I've gotten into them in the winter. That was a lot of fun.
And then you and Jim smoked them, and they were really good.
Really good.
I prefer that over the trout.
Did you?
Yeah. I did.
It was good.
It was like, I'm more of a fan of like thinner cuts of fish.
A little bit more dry.
A little drier.
Yeah.
But it wasn't dry even.
Nope.
It wasn't dry, it was really white and...
Like flaky.
Flaky, but yet firm.
Yeah.
But the lake trout is, I think we can all agree, it's like more oily. It's a little more oily of a fish. And that, I don't know, maybe the brine that I did made it a little
Logan
more
says
oily too. But
the audio sounds awful.
1 second.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Logan? I appreciate that, so we can try to get something fixed up here.
A little reverb.
Sorry, guys. We unhooked everything to bring stuff to a different location, and then brought it back, and then we had to rehook everything back up.
We just want to check the connection on the bottom of their microphones.
All right. Bear with us. We have a lot of good things to talk about tonight.
We do.
But I was actually, back to the white bass, I was pleasantly surprised. I've had white bass before fried, like everybody does everything, and that was okay. I mean, not bad at all. And
well, you always talked about taking the mud line out.
Yeah, you gotta get the mud line out.
Yeah, you're just going to cook it.
That's what Troy Peterson taught us too when we were out in Bago. Was like, take this out, everything will be fine.
He basically just backstrapped them. Everything from the ribs up is what he kept.
Yep.
And I kind of started adopting that too, because my dad's in love with white bass, and I decided that I needed to figure out a way to consume them myself, but I didn't like that they were so fishy.
But you stroked over the skin on and everything, just like you would a trout, right?
Yep. The only difference in the brines between the white bass and the trout was that the white bass got some cayenne to it.
I was going to say, it almost tastes blackened.
Yeah. Yeah, Taylor decided to change it up with a little bit of hot.
But it had no hot.
It had no hot.
It was weird, but
it just had that extra taste.
I will say this: you put the white bass and the trout out at the same time while we were out fishing. The white bass was gone, and the trout was halfway gone.
Yeah.
But granted, it was twice as big. But
I did the same thing at home, and the wife went straight to the lake trout versus the white bass too. So I don't know. It's a taste thing, I guess.
She went to the lake trout instead of the white bass?
Yeah, she liked the lake trout more than the white bass, which I thought was strange, because the white bass did not have as much of a fishy taste as the lake trout did.
Right.
Shannon went straight to the garbage.
She didn't like it at all.
She did not like it. She doesn't do fishing very well.
You guys want to put it out there right now. Please share this. We're going to be talking a lot about Fort Peck, different things that we've learned. We went out there ice fishing for the first time for all four of us ice fishing out there. And I think we've got a lot of good tips for a lot of people out there. We spent 4 days fishing. So if you have questions on Fort Peck, lake trout fishing in general, ask away. We're just here, obviously, to talk about fishing, but we're going to really concentrate on the Fort Peck stuff, Devil's Lake stuff. We've been doing a lot of fishing around the area, so if you've got general questions about fishing and conditions or bites and that kind of stuff, we'll do the best to answer that as we can. So we are live tonight here on Facebook. Are we live on?
We're also live on YouTube.
And we are live on YouTube. So please go ahead and share that and let people know that we're live right now, and we really appreciate it. So if you got any questions, please ask away. So Fort Peck. This is a trip that we tried to take last year. It didn't happen, and last year when we were preparing for this trip, Taylor and I built a bridge, and that actually turned out to be something pretty cool. I wish I had a picture of I have a video of us going over the bridge. If you go to my Facebook page, I posted it. But yeah, so we kind of started preparing. These guys actually went out last summer and had a great trip. I think end of July, early August or something like that. Yep. You guys went out there and caught a bunch of fish, and kind of actually ended up fishing similar area that you guys fished in the summer. We were unintentionally, but it was nice that you guys were a little familiar with that area when we went out there.
Yeah, we were directly adjacent.
All right. It was like we just slid up a little bit.
Yeah, we were just up 50 to 80 instead of 85 to 110, 115.
Okay, we got a few coming right in. What depths were you guys finding the Lakers on in Fort Peck? So we were fishing really anywhere from 40 to 80, really, for the most part, but mostly in that 40 to 60 range.
Yeah.
For the most part. 40 to 60 was by far the most consistent, but we found fish out past 80. So we were really keen on real sharp drops and actually fishing the top side of those sharp drops. In the summer, I think you guys were fishing more the bottom side of those sharp drops.
Yeah, we were fishing the holes off of those.
And in winter, we were targeting just the very top edge of those sharp drops, and it seemed to. And also, we had a fair success on humps adjacent to deep holes as well.
Yep. Getting off on the flat, off the top of the hump, down onto the flat, next to the cliff, if you will, of a drop off. Seemed to be.
It was almost like humps closer to each other too, where it wasn't like just one single.
Yeah, it was like they were corralling fish, or bait fish around multiple humps.
Yep.
And they were maybe going out deeper during the day and coming up shallower. I don't know. There was a lot of speculation, I guess, while we were there as to what they were doing. It was fun for us because I feel like we were still trying to figure it out while we were doing it.
Right.
Also, it wasn't, I've done it in the summer, and now I've done it in the winter. And winter could have, and it was different than summer was.
It was different.
Lynn's got a new trout recipe for you guys. Maple brown sugar and salt.
The maple syrup could be So the brown sugar and the salt was a lot of what was in my brine.
Correct.
But the maple syrup, yeah, that's intriguing.
How was getting around with depths and stuff like that? I think you guys got anything to add to that at all?
I mean, the 50 to 80, and basically, it was very structure based.
Yeah.
Very structure.
I got one little one in 40 feet.
Yeah.
Did we catch anything? We did catch a few out deep.
I had
Like deep, but
Deep.
80 feet-ish.
Yeah.
But the thing I'd like to say about depths as far as like success, it didn't really matter what depth you're in. If you had multiples competing for a bait, it didn't really matter what depth you're in, because then it was, it's a competition thing.
Right.
With the fish, it felt like you're in 70 feet, you have 2 or 3 down there, you're probably going to get one that's going to be super aggressive.
And the other thing I noticed a lot is there was very short bite windows.
Yes.
Like when one person would hook up, 4 people would hook up. And then it wasn't very often that one person was catching and none of the other guys were. It seemed like when one person hooked up, it wasn't very long, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. It was like 4 or 5, and then the bite window would be over for a little while, and then an hour later, all of a sudden, they'd come back. And I mean, granted, we never sat in one spot very many times for an hour.
Right.
One of our keys to success, we all kind of got together and talked about this, is we were going to move until we found something that satisfied the group, not ones and twos. And how many fish did you see? Yeah, you maybe caught one, but you only saw 2 in an hour or a half hour. That's not what we were looking for. We were looking for, I'm marking with a lot of fish there. And honestly, we started 2 miles out on day 1, but we ended 9 miles away on day 1. So, I mean, that's how much moving that we ended up doing.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible when you think about it, know, and it wasn't like we were just skipping over a bunch of stuff. It was, we had 9 guys out there, and it was like groups of 2 leapfrogging each other, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're on some fish here. We'd pull up, try fish it real hard, see if we could mark a bunch of fish. Nope. Okay, next group, and this guys that caught something maybe stayed there a little longer, and then leapfrog them. And yeah, we ended up 9 miles away from our destination. Started 2 miles, so we ended up going 7 miles of covering lakeshore that first day. That's crazy. When you think about it, that's a lot of jumping.
well, and the good news is Dave found his paddle tails as soon as he got home
I saw that.
that he was looking for the whole time that he was out there. So that's. But he caught a lot of fish.
He did do it.
So not having the paddle tails might have been an advantage.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I had paddle tails the whole time, and
Yeah, I had a lot of paddle tails with me.
I found a lot of uninterested fish.
I just think that fishing trout, we've been around, we fished lots of different species doing stuff, but trout is the one thing where I really feel like you can't fish a trout the way Taylor's fishing it or the way you're fishing
Right.
it. You have to find a way to catch those fish that works for you.
Yep.
And because I feel like when I'm trying to mimic somebody else, I'm maybe trying, I don't want to say too hard, but I don't know. It's just like fish the fish instead of fish the way like Taylor's fishing or something like that. Now, if he finds something that's working better, sure, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Because trout's one of those things where, like, even when we went up to Canada, like, I had the first time we ever went trout fishing, I had a tough time catching any. Like, I would get a lot of chases, I wouldn't get them to finish, something I was doing, and then once you finally keep trying, and you get one to finish and work, and then it seemed like all of a sudden I had 4 or 5 on the ice. It was like,
It's getting it to click for you,
yes,
not for the fish.
100% getting it to click for you. Yeah, very frustrating at times. And what we found was I really felt like there was definitely bite windows out there where these fish were biting. You could get 1 or 2 to bite, but when it happened real quick. So I feel like I'm missing a bunch of questions.
Yeah, I was going to say the one guy's asking about getting around. There was very little snow out there, too. So Jim and I had snowmobiles, and then you guys all had 4-wheelers.
Yeah, I mean,
Worked good.
The snowmobiles worked good because we got like a half-inch of snow the night you guys got there, or else it would have been bare ice. I got a little video of a bridge that we were using. I think you guys will be able to see it. I'll see if I could show it to you.
And then what colors were working best? Like a lot of us had white on.
Yeah, it
I would
seemed
say
like
glow.
the shad and all that kind of stuff that they're feeding on is white, and it seemed like white with a little chartreuse on it or something like that seemed to be the best. Here's a little video. I don't know if you guys can see it, but you should be able to see it a little bit here. But we used a bridge. We built a bridge that went behind the four-wheeler, and we pulled it everywhere. So, I mean, there was days that we had to use it on every single breaker, and there was days that we didn't have to use it on all but one, or what have you. So, ice conditions, I think
changing daily.
Yeah,
I would say
definitely
daily.
Changing daily. Most of it, I would say 12 to 14 inches, if not a little more, in most spots. I mean, but that was pretty consistent throughout. But the breakers were moving constantly.
Right.
We didn't wake up in the morning and just think, oh, we're just going to cross every breaker without the bridge. We went up to it and decided every day whether we were going to do that or not. We used the bridge more than we didn't.
And even because we got out there a day before these guys, and we had to find a different path across a breaker that we crossed easily that morning.
Yeah.
And it we probably could have crossed it, but we also just kind of wanted to see if we didn't have to cross, if we could go around it. Could not go around it.
Right.
It had an offshoot, but
And that was the first breaker a half mile from shore. You guys don't go anywhere on that lake without that bridge.
yeah.
And really, like, the first breaker was always
It's the one that changed the most.
Right.
Day to day.
was changing probably hourly. I mean, it would come apart, a couple feet, and then it would heal itself, and then it would break back apart again. But like you're talking about, it was kind of a check it every time we crossed it, not just assume it was fine. And
Yeah. There was a question earlier about line color. I know it didn't seem like it mattered a whole lot. Like I was using yellow. I know Mike was using white and black.
I was using a fluorocarbon leader on all but one rod, and I just have a hard time believing that it matters like a ton out there, just because of how fast you're working these fish up. They don't really have time to, because we're always staying above the fish, so they don't really have time. I don't think. I mean, psychologically, it maybe helps you fish better.
See, I think psychologically for me, it messed me up that I had such a short leader on. I mean, with the ice rod and a barrel swivel and cold enough fingers, I wasn't trying to uni.
Yeah.
6 feet out. So I got stuck with 18-inch leader, and it messed with my head quite a bit actually, because I found I was getting rejected a lot.
Yeah.
And I started taking it personally. It was getting to a point where I was getting a little bit. Just give me one. Just give me one. And you get one, then all of a sudden you'd have 3 or 4, and maybe you didn't ice them all, maybe you dump some, but. I think the fluoro, if it got my head, it was that. I mean, I talked to his ear off about it, like, dude, my fingers are freezing.
I love it when we go out and I'll catch like 2 or 3, and you'll look over at me and you go,
Straight tie?
"Are you straight tied?" And I'll go, "You know me, I'm straight tied."
Yeah.
Oh, I got this barrel swivel on here. I'm pretty sure this is the problem here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, all right, well then.
See, I was using just a
Mess with
small
your head.
class so I could switch off quick. I don't like the big stuff, but I had 3 of my 4 rods had fluoro leaders 10 feet long, and the one that I used most didn't. And I don't know. It's super clear water out there. So I mean, when you're going out there, it's 20, 30 foot visibility, if not more.
It's more. We had about 40 foot in the summertime, and that was when it was moving.
I know when we stuck the GoPro down there, you saw the fish a long ways down.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
Here's the way I look at it. I would use braid personally with a fluoro leader. If I was going to go again, all 4 of my rods would have fluoro leaders because it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anything. And I was using 10-pound with a 14-pound fluoro is what I was using. And I never broke off, never had any of that. Rothmeyer had barrel swivel and fluoro leader with a snap. So, and Chris was out there with us. It was actually, everybody that was out there was Thor, the 4 of us sitting at the table. Thor is, you're here.
I am here.
I forget. Anthony, Chris, Dave, and Caleb, 2 more of our buddies that were out there. We had 9 guys total. it was I have to just come out and say it. Like, I've done, with what we do, we have done a ton of trips, a ton. And that one, just because of what it was, not all because of the fish catching, not all because of the whole rounded experience, was my favorite trip I've ever done.
Oh, it was an absolute blast.
I mean, from start to finish, it was my favorite trip. I don't know where you guys are at with it, but as far as ice fishing, I came back with, I'm still smiling about it. Just the unknown ice conditions. I would say if you're going out there, the number one thing I would do is go with guys you trust. We've done a lot of fishing together. We basically know what each other is thinking, whether we're moving, whether we're putting the bridge up, whether safety, all that kind of stuff. Like,
we need to just leave each other alone for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There's 4 nights in camp. There's you need more than 6 feet of space.
when you roll up on the 4-wheeler to go film a fish catch, and before you get there, you watch a rod go 30 feet in the air.
Yeah.
You learn that you just turn around.
You do.
Or you poke the bear.
You didn't poke the bear. That was a good thing.
I really wanted to. I wanted to so bad, but
Yeah. One of the things that if you guys do end up going out, you'll find out that you dump almost as many fish as you catch.
they're really easy to lose.
They're really easy to lose. They fight so differently and so aggressive.
And they're smart.
They're smart.
I had one that, because we were drilling triple holes, I watched it swim up and hook my hook to the bottom of the ice,
nice.
and then swim away.
Yep.
Like, it knew exactly what it was doing.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Like
Yeah.
I watched it happen, and I went, I don't even think I can be mad about that.
Yeah, you almost take it personally. And on that one I did. I touched its face twice, and the third time it ran, it dumped, and it was a good one.
I don't know how many times you have it to the hole,
Yep.
and you're thinking in your head, how is this thing backing itself down the hole?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, they keep doing this, like
swim
slithering
backwards.
themselves down. You're like, oh, I got it. It gave up now. I can grab it. It'll come out. And then you go to grab it, and all of a sudden its head is back onto the ice, and all of a sudden it's 45 feet that way.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll start the process over again.
Yeah.
It's like, why every time do they get to the hole that you think they're out of gas? Because you see bubbles, the typical trout thing, and then it just turns back to, oh, okay, I'm fighting this 20-pound fish again,
Yep.
15, 20-pound fish. So it's just, they're the battle and the fight that those fish have, I think, is what makes that trip so special, is that you're in, like you say, 40 to 80 feet, and they fight so hard. It's like relentless.
I think with one cool to lukewarm shower, I could have spent another 5 days out there.
easily.
It didn't even need to be a hot shower, but
I think warmed up baby wipes.
yeah, I just
Just leave them over the heater.
yeah.
Yeah, but have you ever like tried to wipe up oil? That's what it feels like it would have been. Like, you're just like pushing your oil on your, like, down your arm and like other places
Was
that
he
we won't.
there, like, in the background watching us?
Matt,
If you're hard on your gear and you throw your rod 30 feet in the air after every fish, regardless.
I think he's making fun of Jim's temper.
Oh, that was a hissy fit. That wasn't even temper. That was just straight hissy.
So we actually camped right at Fort Peck Marina. We had these guys stayed in the 850 Eskimo. Anthony and those guys stayed in the 650. Thor and I stayed in the truck camper, and a couple guys slept in the enclosed trailer with a heater on. And honestly, I wouldn't have done it any other way. I mean, I don't know how you guys were in there.
Loved it.
It was just so nice. We all kind of hung out in the trailer. We had campfire one night. We just it forces you to come together.
Yep.
And that's one of my favorite parts of this whole trip was the fact that you got back. If you kept a couple fish, you cleaned them, but it forced everybody
To hang out
to just come
and
together.
do one group.
Correct.
But having 4 different sleeping spots also allowed that, like,
Yep.
all right, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm done being around everybody.
It really didn't happen that way.
No,
We were
but-
kind of like just
Jeez, I thought we all had a good time, Thor.
No,
We didn't have to get away from each other.
fucking awful time. Never had less fun.
No, I guess what if one tip that you guys would give somebody going to Fort Peck, what would that be, Jim?
Oh, just keep reeling.
Keep reeling.
Keep reeling. If you think that fish gave up on you,
It didn't.
give it a jig and then start reeling again, and that thing's coming back.
One tip, are you like fishing or
Whatever. Tip on
I think
a trip to Fort
That's
Peck.
hard.
For me, you have to bring ice cleats.
I didn't put them on the whole
I
time.
didn't put them on either, but I should have. There was a couple times where I almost took a nasty
It's-
spill.
See, I'm notorious for falling on the ice. I put my cleats on.
Yeah.
That was one thing for me. And granted, I was doing a lot of running around back and forth, but
Yeah, because let's be clear, you were doing the filming.
Yeah.
And you got the fish, too.
but having ice cleats, and not necessarily having to wear them, but at least have them out on the 4-wheeler with you.
Right.
Because I didn't put my cleats on until halfway through our first day out there.
Right.
But having them, because that lake can turn into a hockey rink fast.
It did.
And it did every day on us. And having those cleats was really nice.
Well, and then when you're fishing in spots that don't have as much snow, the second you get the water up there, I mean that was my downfall. I mean I almost bit it hard 3-4 times,
Yeah.
and I'm lucky I didn't throw it back out or something or worse. I'm old.
Right.
I think we can all say we're getting old now.
Matt, we stayed at the Fort Peck Marina. We camped.
I think I'd have to say research.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like not go wild crazy, I guess, but just get a general idea before you go that way. I mean, I think that kind of goes without saying, start looking at things, watching videos, and
I mean, part of our research was the reason we built that bridge.
right.
And that was giant for our success, for everybody to get to where we needed to get to be successful.
Because we knew there was a potential to have those breakers like
Yeah.
we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not having that bridge would have cost us an extra 2 hours every day
Right.
of fishing time
Easily.
or sleeping time.
Or Taylor and I out on our sleds telling you about how awesome the bite is out here without you guys.
All right. We'd have had you guys running us back and forth.
Yeah, I was going to elaborate a little bit on that, I guess, too, about the Fort Peck Marina. Is that there was a couple guys that were asking about the trip out there too, and Scott Collinsworth does a really good job of updating how the lake conditions are.
Yeah.
Just on their page, the Fort Peck Marina page, he says, there's a really bad breaker here. Hey, there's a gas pocket over there. Hey, there's another breaker 3 miles out. I mean, just looking at that stuff before you get out there is really big before you start trying to make a game plan. Like, looking at places to fish is one thing, but getting there is another thing, because that is a bear of a lake. And I mean, we've dealt with breakers in other places, I guess, but their ice is different there.
Yeah.
Well, their
Well,
temperature's
You're
different.
dealing
That's
with
the
breakers
biggest
on
thing.
woods or
Yeah, the
or-
breakers would open up 4
Yeah.
feet in a day. They'd be tight in the morning, and by the time we come back, they'd be 4 or 5 feet wide open
Right.
in the same place we crossed in the morning.
with
you
the
know.
added that you're only on a foot of ice.
We saw that a lot in
And
San
you're
Diego.
over 120 feet of water.
Right. Not 3 feet like on Lake of the 4 feet on Lake of the Woods or Winnipeg or up north.
Like, we've seen it before. Like, Saginaw was the same way, too. It was like,
Saginaw.
no, you're not crossing that breaker, you know. But it's like, just like I'm saying, research, I guess, before you get out there. Just look at every possible avenue you can before you go. And don't forget to have a good time. I mean, we all had really good attitudes going into this trip, and, that's my mindset of going into every trip. You could fail. I mean, but I don't want to fail, so
Right.
I'm going to try to make the best of it while I'm there.
Well, I think due to our research, we had a realistic idea of what to expect.
Right.
And a lot of guys will go somewhere like this, and we actually had a couple guys with us that Dave, actually, he was like, on that first day, we stopped at that first place. He caught one, and you caught one at that first place, and it wasn't 20 minutes later, we're like, we got to get out of here. And they're like, he's like, what? I just caught one. Yeah, but you only saw a couple,
Right.
like we knew we needed to mark a ton of fish
Right.
to realistically do what we thought was realistic.
Yeah.
And so we all got together and we're like, all right, let's keep moving. Let's keep going in this direction. And that paid off giant for us. So I would say, there's Eddie out there at the bait shop. There's Scott at the marina. There's so many people out there that are willing to help you. I mean, these guys want you to be successful. They want you to come out and have a good time. And so utilize those things to your fullest. We stopped in and talked to Eddie when we first got there. We stopped and talked to Scott. He had to go to a football game, but we did get a chance to talk to him and stay at his facility, which I wouldn't do it different if I went back out. I mean, the camping thing was a lot of fun, and it wasn't that big of a hassle really either.
No.
And the weather's just different than it is here. So you're going out there. Yeah, they have 12 to 14 inches of ice, but it's just not And not that it can't get crazy cold out there and windy, but it just wasn't for us on our trip.
The first day it was. We had sustained 30, 40 mile an hour winds.
But it wasn't cold.
No. And then 2 days later, we stood out by a bonfire till almost midnight at 32 degrees.
Right. While it's 5 degrees and garbage back here.
Yeah. I mean, a winter bonfire is a lot more fun with winter being 32.
Yes.
My piece of advice would be to pack it all. Don't leave anything at home that you think might work. Taylor pulled something out of his box that worked. And there was, I don't know if you, like, I'm going to throw that on, but you don't even think you used it day one, did you?
No.
No, you just kind of like getting rejected, switched up to that, and then you never took it off.
The downsizing.
Yeah, that's the other thing that we really found, guys, is that like a lot of times when we're fishing lake trout, we're using 4.5, 5 inch paddle tails, like big stuff, and we really downsized to medium to small stuff, really like 3/8 ounce type stuff, 3 inch paddle tails, that kind of 3.5 inch stuff. I mean, that's what I found. That's about where you were at too, right? With that?
Yeah, I think most of the plastics are 3.5, 4s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, so we downsized, which a lot of those negative fish turned into positive fish just by doing that. The other thing is for me personally, I did a lot of, at first bringing them up really fast, but I also found that keeping it in the bottom 10 feet, sometimes I would get that strike I wasn't getting bringing them up. So I would always try that first and just jig the crap out of them, like, I don't know, let's say from the bottom to 15 feet up. I'd bring them up a little bit, and sometimes they'd eat it when they wouldn't eat it. You'd get them chased 3-4 times and they wouldn't eat it, and then if I just kept it down in that zone, they would eat it sometimes. So there isn't one, that's the thing about lake trout, like there isn't one way to fish these things. Like it's if you take it personal that it's a game between you and that fish that's on your screen, and like the first time it didn't do it, the second time it didn't do it, try something different, and I think you can get those fish to eat. They're so aggressive, and when you hook up, it is hang on time.
It is hang on time,
and that is part of why it was one of the best trips I've ever had. It was just like everybody's laughing, everybody's screaming. We're a quarter mile away from each other at some points, and everybody's screaming, having a good time. Many of us caught our best fish of our lives, our PBs. Some didn't, some did. I mean, it was a trip I'm definitely never going to forget and probably never miss again.
Right.
Like, I don't think there'll be a year that I don't make it out there to do something for ice.
So, for ice.
For sure ice.
You got a for sure summer too.
The wife's going to try to not let me to, but I'm not going to let her do that.
She's going to try to not let you go? Mm-hmm. Chelsea.
It's been a debate at our house.
Normal.
Yeah. She's like, if you're going in the winter, you're not going in the summer. I was like, yeah, but it's a seasonal trip. I was like, we went last summer and it was so much fun.
So that's where in the summer you go to Flathead.
Where's Flathead?
It's just up the road from Fort Peck.
So,
and then in the winter you go to Fort Peck.
That's a good play. You know why? Because her and I have been to Flathead Lake before when we went honeymooning out there in Whitefish.
Oh, so
maybe we could just
yeah, family trip.
Yeah. Well, we could do the nightlife at Flathead or in Whitefish, and then just go fishing.
I would agree with Anthony. Move. If you're not marking, move. And that can be big moves to small moves. I mean, we made 100-yard moves that made a giant difference. We made quarter-mile moves that made a giant difference. So, move doesn't mean that you have to go a long ways. Just change it up just a bit. Take her with.
I saw that.
She would love it. I hear you, Chantel. She would love the trip. She loves to fish. I think she's just mad that I'm not taking her with. That's the thing.
I'm for sure going to take Jake out there next summer. Because I just think watching him hook up into one of those fish would just be worth it.
He'd be ear to ear.
I think would take him for a ride too.
That's exactly what I want.
Strap him in.
Yeah, that's where you diaper him and strap him to the boat. See if he can do it.
So he could drown?
Well, no, that's why you diaper him.
I literally came home and he was like, "How was the trip?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm taking you next summer. I will never take him. I will not take him on the ice until he's old enough to fend for himself.
Yeah.
But I will definitely take him. Don't mix business with pleasure. I will definitely take him summertime in the boat. I just think it's a place that everything you hear is true. It's hard. And I think the reason that trip was such an exciting trip for me is because from the moment we left here till the moment we got back, it was an adventure in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's what are we dealing with on the ice today, the trip out, which isn't a terrible trip, 7.5 hours for us, I think is what it is.
We were 9.
9 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Mike's got a much larger fuel tank.
Yes, he does.
I only have to stop once.
Oh, yeah, we stopped.
Twice. I stopped twice. Way back.
2 or 3.
I was gonna say, how big of a tank do you got? Because that's 800 miles out there. 700 miles.
No, it's not. It's like 400 and
What was it? It was, what was it, 980 miles round trip when we got back?
Yeah, I was going to say 400 and some miles.
Yeah, 980, and it was exactly 18 hours. He had some hour meeting.
I did have some idle time on there too.
I was going to say, I think
But I don't know if it was minimal, I guess.
anyways, we
We're getting
stopped
down
twice. I have a
technical.
46-gallon tank on my truck, so I can go.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I was actually getting 12.2 miles a gallon pulling the trailer and the pickup camper.
Jesus.
I was doing well. On the way out, no.
Yeah, I felt bad for Rothmar because he had an extra 5.5 after we got home.
I told him he needs to live closer to all the fun stuff,
Yeah,
but
he really
he doesn't do it.
Yeah, he should have just bought a Cessna plane.
Yeah.
Just met us out there.
Might have been cheaper.
Are the big walleyes snapping on Green Bay, Steve?
Get close.
I hope so. I like that place.
I actually saw a post today of some guide outfit out there with
Airboats.
just a ton of walleyes on the ice.
Oh,
So they must be.
like a literal ton?
No.
It might have been.
See, sometimes you just have to get literal with Jim.
Also, Chris, yes, I do see your comment.
Oh, yeah. Oh, everybody saw Chris's comment. We put it up there.
I think that's where the literal began.
Yeah, that is where the literal began.
Clay, you're going to make me blush.
Clay, quit it.
Clay, on this trip, I did lose
Plenty of fish.
2.
Plenty. You lost more than 2.
No.
Yes.
I caught 2 and I lost 2.
Well,
No.
if you ask him, every time he had active fish on, one of us got a fish and he had to leave.
Yeah, remember those bite windows you guys were talking about? I didn't get to capitalize on any of them. No, I caught 2 and I lost 2.
Damn cameraman had to work.
Yeah. Bullshit. How dare you guys make me do my job?
And there was definitely times where you were like, Thor, fish on, and you'd be like, And then we'd have to yell again and again and again, and then you'd go,
Better be big.
Better be big. We got the episode. It better be big.
Yeah. I don't know. It got better. It was just the one day. The one day I had to walk away from a dozen active fish.
Yeah.
Which is, at that point, we did not have the episode yet. I was just irritated.
Right.
Because, I also wanted to catch.
Nothing about you screams spoiled.
yeah.
How many active fish did you walk away from?
Oh. 0.
You watched me miss 5 fish in 2 minutes? You're lying. Where?
TikTok.
That's because they like to post all that kind of stuff because you don't see when they're missing, Clay.
No. Clay's talking about when we were on TikTok Live up on Lake of the Woods. When you and Ross were,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
You and the
No,
mustache
that wasn't
man.
me that missed 5. It was between Ross and I.
You can share the link, can't you? Off your Facebook? The video?
I can
Rich?
find it.
Post it in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to my Facebook page, I posted a little video of it, and you see what it is. So basically what it was two 12-foot 2x12s, green treated, the long way, and then every like 24 inches we put a 2x12 the wide way. So it was, I think we made it like 50 inches wide or 52 inches wide. And then we put 3/4 inch plywood over the top of that. Then we put cross-country skis underneath it, so it would go across the ice and the snow just fine, which really it did a great job going across the ice and all that kind of stuff. I was really pleased with that. And then we took an Eskimo hitch and mounted that to the front of it so we could hook it to the back of the four-wheeler. And just, I'm sure you have video footage of it.
Yeah, I
some
just
sort.
haven't gotten around. I just haven't posted anything yet.
So, I mean, and we pulled it all around the lake for 4 days and with zero issue. I mean, we had zero issue at the bridge as far as like, we put a lot of miles on that thing. Like every day I was like, okay, what's going to happen today? You know, but I'm going to make a few little tweaks to it, but nothing that really needs to get done. Just something I think that'll help a little bit here and there. Like just
Put a hitch on each side.
Right. Yeah.
So
you hitch on each side so you never have to flip it around because it's big and heavy. And then when we pulled it out there, we literally just put it on the bed of the trailer and ran the four-wheelers over the top of it. So it was just on the bottom of the trailer. It wasn't really in the way or anything like that. And like I said, we pulled it around everywhere. We would go over one breaker, everybody would get over, and then we would hook it back up, pull it to the next breaker, everybody would get over, hook it back up, so and so on, all the way through until we got to the last breaker that we were going over. Then we just left it on the breaker set up.
Good job, Jennifer.
And
she did it.
Yeah, so it was pretty incredible. It worked really well. I would never go out there if I was using four-wheelers again, but that being said, if I was going to go out there and we had the snow, I would bring my snowmobile. I just don't know how well my snowmobile would have worked being liquid cooled. I don't know if there would have been quite enough snow. Your guys as fans, so you more or less just have to keep your tracks lubed, where I would have to keep mine cooling. So I'm not sure how well that would have worked or not. But
just have to go faster. Because then you get the cold air.
Yeah.
And it's ice. You're on the ice, right? So it's just cold.
Yeah.
It's cold all the time, right? That's how it works, right?
I wish that's the way it worked.
The more leisurely approach that we took to on-ice travel over the last week, I really
Yeah, you did say that a
as
couple
well.
times. I'm enjoying this 17 miles an hour.
It says he has a bass boat and goes 86 everywhere with me in the passenger seat.
My bass boat.
We gotta get there in the next 5 minutes.
My bass boat has never gone 86.
Oh, jeez. It felt like it.
There's
My
definitely
eyeballs
not
were
gone
in the back
86
of my
with
head.
2 of us in it. And that's in the summertime when it's legitimately warm out.
Yeah, the leisurely approach is cool. There was a couple times where Taylor and I sat back on the sleds and just waited for you guys to get up there, and then, all right, let's pin her. Mm-hmm. Let's catch up.
Yeah, but even with the wheeler, I did a couple. Would do it as well. But
And we weren't riding swells like we usually do on Devil's Lake in the sleds.
Right.
Or with four-wheelers, too, like going through snow. It was just a...
Clean
You just
field.
went.
I literally just put headphones in and just got on a vibe. Turns out it doesn't matter what music you listen to; it all sounds better when you're driving across a reservoir as the sun rises.
I don't know about you guys, but I had the 12-inch screen in front of me on my four-wheeler, and I don't know if you guys were looking at GPS and stuff when you were driving, like across the lake. But it is nerve-wracking to be in 220 feet of water driving across a lake on a four-wheeler. I was like hyper-aware, like all the time. Like I'd be like, and then down,
Ignorance
and then
is bliss.
and then down. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you've fallen in 20 feet or 200 feet. It's all the same because you can't touch. But it's still just you look down and you're in 200 plus feet of water, and you're like, just like riding a roller coaster just a little bit every day.
I got mostly geeked out over the spots where it had broken up early. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it stayed kind of shattered ice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and
itself
then
back together, and it was. I mean,
Yeah, there
it
were
was probably
white
thicker.
shards
Yeah.
and clear spaces between them.
Yes, there was a couple times where it actually kicked me around with the skis on my sled, where it kind of jostled me a little bit, and it was oh Jesus.
I would say one thing that we all did right too was we packed as light as possible.
Yeah. That was the least amount of stuff I've ever brought on the ice.
Yeah. So I mean, like rods, gear. Everybody had their own augers, which I think is a must because I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. And it wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna take your auger and I'll bring it back. It was, hey, this is where I'm going. We're gonna go that way. Okay, I'm gonna go this way. No big deal. I think having your own machine, if possible, having your own auger, if possible, is two huge things that made it.
Keep your friendship.
Can you give me my drink over there?
Like not having to borrow the guy's auger.
Keep your
Keeps
friendship.
your friendship. Keeps everybody happy.
So you know,
Oh, you're going to take my auger, huh? Yeah, I don't mind. Until I have to walk over and grab it in the next 20 minutes to drill my holes.
that was me with Thor. He would go drill his holes and then he'd just lay it up against the four-wheeler and I'd be like leaving. Multiple times I left and then like, or I would drive up to him and he'd be like, oh, you probably want your auger. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I want my auger.
There were also multiple times where you set the auger down next to your own four-wheeler and drove away from it.
Once. That was once, and I had thought I was going to come back and then didn't, and then...
Then 9 miles later, you're like, oh, good, my auger made it back.
Yeah. No, it happened, for sure.
Did you, speaking of augers, did you triple hole it or did you double hole it?
It depended. It depends how confident I was in where I was sitting. If it was a new spot that we were just searching out, I'd double hold it.
You double hold a new spot? What if there was a giant there?
I know. I thought about that when I only double hold.
So you only triple hold when you thought there was potentially giants there.
Unfortunately.
I quad hold in a couple spots.
And I had 8-inch. Like Anthony, those guys were running 10-inch. So would you triple hole a 10-inch?
No.
See, I double hold 8, and I still had fish turn around on me at the hole.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying. A triple hole.
Yeah, well, you triple hold, and they still had more room to turn around on them.
And also towards the end, instead of breaking through on everyone, I got the 3 holes all the way down and I left a little bit of ice to try to get all the shards out.
Yeah.
And then I bopped.
Dave, the first day that we're all out there together, he gets back, and the first thing he says is like, I've never, I knew you guys would be moving and doing stuff. He's like, but I've never drilled that many holes. This auger got more holes today than its whole life, basically. But yeah, we drilled and drilled and drilled and drilled, and I probably tripled 80% of the time.
So Dave needs to come perching.
Oh yeah, you think
So we
that was
can-
a lot of holes, Dave?
Yeah.
So we can drill 10,000 holes a day. It's not that much, but it's like,
Or crappie.
it's so many. Oh yeah, that too.
Or almost anything.
See, and perching and crappies and stuff has changed how many holes we drill because of live scope.
You think so?
I think so.
I
I think you do.
Because in the past we would have we would have drilled and then we would have been like, oh yeah, they're gonna come back around here in the next 20 minutes. Now we just go to them.
Yep.
We just go to them. It was more evident last year in that first crappie episode we did where we just were so impatient. We were like, well, we're going to them. We're going here. We're going there. They're over there. 30 feet. They're over there. 40 feet.
But we would have laid out a 10 pace grid over an area and then just bopped around looking for them
Without live scope?
without live scope.
Yeah.
Now it's one hole. Search around, look. Okay, they're not here. All right, go 100 feet that way.
Yeah.
Drill a hole, and then check it out, and then you drill out an area. So that way, we learned the hard way trying to corral those fish on that first episode, where we chased them around like dumbasses, and ended up costing us more fish because we were the loudest thing on the ice, all running around with cleats and no snow.
Yeah.
If we would have just found them and then bopped the area out first, and then hung out and waited for them, and then been able to move around a little more stealthy. But I still think we drill less holes. The initial grid doesn't exist anymore.
You absolutely have the opportunity to drill less holes.
Correct.
It's how patient you can be waiting for the fish to come back with live scope.
Right. Where in a situation like this,
See, I feel like I drill more holes with live
Right.
scope.
That's why I included the caveat of how patient can you be waiting for them to come back.
Right.
Because with the live scope, it's easier for you to find the fish.
but
You also know that they're 50 feet that way,
Right.
and whether or not you can sit and wait for them to swim back to you is the
right. You
deal
also
breaker.
know that they're just not there.
Right.
So you can drill one hole, find they're not there, and move on.
Steve, the snow bear is absolutely awesome. 100%.
I still have never been in one.
That sucks.
Yeah, Anthony, that's actually a really good point. So we had everything out there. A lot of guys we talk about with live scope and Panoptics and just regular deucers. We had all three of them out there. I think Anthony and you were using live scope, and you were able to see 70-ish feet.
So I could get, it was better in 50 than it was in 80, but what I ended up having to do was move my deucer about 5 or 6 feet away from the holes I was fishing.
Right.
And then just spin around until I could find myself. And then I was fine.
Right.
But it's such an area, or the footprint that thing's showing you is insane. You're fishing with something this big 80 feet away.
Right.
And I mean, the 30 plus inch fish that we were fishing for looked like your bait in 20 feet.
Right.
It's just such a depth that
and I was using
tough.
And I was using regular Panoptics with the PS22, and I had like 30 feet to each side. I could have gone forward view. I didn't. I chose to fish in down view.
Same.
And so I could see 30, 35 feet to each side depending on how deep the water is. If it was 80 feet, I'd see 30 feet. But my bait showed up nice and big. Yep. The fish showed up nice and big. Yep. Would I use live scope out there? Absolutely. Would I use the PS22 again? I think so, because I could still see the swimming. I still could see my bait. 80 feet of water, I could still see my bait just fine with down view. And then these guys were using just like traditional type flasher stuff, and you guys had zero issues, really.
Once I figured out what a fish looked like, well, because part of it was
every day it was, I think I saw a fish.
Well,
I think it was a fish.
Well, because there's a little bit of leg to it. And then there's like fishing hair jigs and stuff. I was getting a lot of interference from my line. Yep. And especially like the air bubbles within a hair jig, until Mike was like, if you just rip your bait really hard a couple times on the way down, that goes away. Yeah. I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I started doing that, and then as it went on, it made it a lot easier to see my bait. And the real shock to me was on our first morning when I flipped that Garmin unit into flasher mode from 2D sonar. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it and went, I don't remember how to read a flasher. I looked at it and was like, none of this makes sense. So I had to split it so I could see 2D and the flasher, and then
in flasher mode it was a little bit easier to see what exactly you were looking at.
Yeah.
The history stuff of it kind of throws it off just a little bit.
Yes,
because it shows up.
Yeah.
If it shows up from the side right at the same depth as your bait, you don't really notice it until you do a 2-foot rip of your jig, and then that red line stays there, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
I should have been reeling.
Well, the biggest thing I liked, like the PS22, was there was multiple times where I would be working a fish and coming up, and I would see a fish streak from 20 feet away from the other side. So like this one maybe would stop, but this one would continue to come.
Yep.
So I all of a sudden I was engaging to a different fish. So I really did like that cone angle type thing.
That was same with live scope. That's what I did like that, because you could see them coming in from the side, and if they were coming in off the bottom and I'm 10 feet up, I would start jigging more aggressively or just start really slowly. And as soon as I saw that fish engage from 30 feet away and start coming up and change his angle towards me, I knew it was game on.
Yep.
He's at least interested. We're going to see what happens here. Maybe he won't eat, maybe he will, but I at least know that he's there.
Yep.
And
yeah, and that was a lot of it for me as well, because I've been using live scope in the snow bear all year. I
saw someone comment on the snow bear, by the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Steve wants one. He's watching our Devil's Lake episode in the background. Was the getting used, like, not knowing, in 80 feet how wide that cone angle was, because in my brain I see the flasher as the same width as my hole, right? But it's not. But I mentally felt like I was constricted, which is where the 2D, for some reason in my brain, helped me like get over that mental hurdle, using the 2D sonar. But I don't even remember. I forgot where I was going with this. But
well, a lot like what Chris says on here. If you saw them majority of the time, but they can disappear easily out of the cone angle, and
right.
That was the same with live scope. Your jig would disappear sometimes, and you just kept going, and the fish would reappear, and right on you, and you're 30 feet higher than you just were. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know how many times you set the hook right under the ice. You know, for you,
Right,
With
yeah.
the 80 feet of water, and you're setting the hook and bouncing them off the ice.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, I had many fish that I brought all the way to the ice surface, to underneath the ice where I could look down my hole and see them.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one that in particular that I caught that was like, I had it there and went down. I went down 5 feet, came back up, and I could see it swimming across underneath the ice right there. It was pretty cool.
They're very shark-like in that respect.
Yeah.
They just circle you and circle you and circle you, and then they take off like a torpedo when they want it. I don't know how many fish swung and missed. I got to imagine for everybody that was a thing, because you're reeling up so fast.
Yeah.
That they're torpedoes.
Yeah.
You're reeling steadily, and the fish catches up to you in 5 feet
Yep.
on your transducer, but there's no tug at all on your rod, and you know that fish missed.
Yep.
It missed. So then you just keep doing what you're doing, and then it a lot of times eventually hits you like 10, 15 feet later.
Yeah, there was so many times on the live scope that you'd see it coming up under you, and then whoosh, and then come over here, and you could actually watch it kick around and come back towards you and come back up at that angle and swing and miss again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes by the third crack, they'd connect, or they'd say, oh, "Well, screw it, I'm never catching this thing. I'm out."
Yeah.
It seemed to me more like those fish that you marked they were going to do it. They were going to make it happen. You weren't making it happen, to me.
It was up to
I
you.
don't think your cadence made a lot of difference.
It was a fish.
Sometimes, maybe. But when that fish was on your screen, it had made its mind up. Because there was some that I had hit when I was just like doing this and looking off into space, and also my rod would be like this. And I'm like, weird. Because every time it seemed like you had to get him to chase. Whereas the next one you mark and you do the exact same thing you just did to the one that you caught, and it's negative. It just goes right back down. You could tell the ones that came into your screen that really wanted to do it did it.
Yeah, and that was like with the PS22. You could tell the mood of the fish almost as soon as it came into screen. So, again, if we're talking Fort Peck, we're talking anything ice fishing really, but we just got back from an incredible trip at Fort Peck Laker fishing. Anything you guys want to know what our thoughts are on Fort Peck, go ahead and ask. If you're thinking about a trip out there, if you're trying to make a trip this year yet, if you're just want to be a little more informed on what's going on out there or what we were doing, obviously the episode is going to be hopefully out within days. And it's I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know how we're going to fit all those fish into one episode. But we're going to do it.
Your daughter would like you to text her back. I was thinking about calling Tyler today and see if we could just get an extended cut. Just do like a 40-minute episode.
Jeez. Crazy. I don't know. What was your guys' thoughts overall feel of the trip? I mean, it was just cool.
Yeah, super cool. I really, really, really like that camping thing. Temps were right. I mean, it was still below freezing most of the time. I mean, at night for sure.
Yeah.
We had 35, 37 for a high, 1 or 2 days. It seems like that's like the perfect introductory wintertime camping temps for people.
I mean, let's be honest.
I've done it.
The winter camping's such a giant thing right now, and so many people are set up to do it.
Right.
For pennies compared to renting a cabin or whatever, you can camp. Mm-hmm. And we got electric outlets right there, so you charge everything you need, whatever. I mean, there's plenty of power right there.
We arguably ate better because we camped than if we would have stayed in a hotel.
Right. Because it would have been
Bar food versus steaks
and
chicken.
fajitas and
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
charcoal, a couple pizzas.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely ate better.
Yeah.
Oh, we ate like kings.
Yeah.
We didn't really get into like the idiosyncrasies of it all either, too. Like the heater. I mean, we had the flex heater in ours, and that. I mean, we were almost like hot to a point.
There was a couple times where I kicked all the blanket off me. I was like,
I woke up and you had no sleeping bag on you, and I'm like, oh, he's hot.
Yeah.
Like We got to turn it down from medium to low here. And I think it just helps out. It was 30 degrees too, you know, I mean.
Well, I think we finally found a setting on the thermostat in the camper where both Mike and I were comfortable. Because he sleeps up above the cab and I sleep right in front of the furnace.
Oh, yeah.
So there's an obvious difference.
Well, he gets the heat up high.
Oh, no.
I'm freezing. He gets cold.
Oh, for real?
You're right. But, like, because I get the furnace blowing
Thor
directly
absorbs
into my face.
all the heat.
So it literally blows straight into my face. So I get up and I turn the thermostat down.
Oh, so not only on day 5 are you getting all the heat, you're smelling the heat.
You kind of are in a cave up there, though.
Yeah,
like the cabinets are right there, then your bed's wide, and then the truck is underneath you.
It always takes me about 10 minutes to stop hyperventilating when I get up there. Like I lay down, and it's like just enough room where like my shoulder rubs the top a little bit. And I always tell Thor, I'm like, I need 10 minutes. Just don't even talk to me or nothing. Just 10 minutes.
It's
Up in
almost
my
like
little
climbing
cave.
into a coffin.
Not only it's
That's tough.
Andy didn't have Olive to snuggle with.
no Olive this time.
Not to spoil.
Oh, he just asked that puppy fishing with you.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves the puppy. She didn't get to go with us to Fort Peck.
Yeah.
It was better.
We're a little worried about her falling into a triple drilled out hole.
Need a fan.
Yeah, fan was big.
Did you guys have a fan?
Yeah.
He had his fan.
Yeah. I bought one for...
Floor width, of course they
Yeah,
have.
we bought for yeah. No, I bought one of those portable fans last summer when we went out to do this when it was 90 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew that if I didn't have some kind of air and noise on me at night, I was going to be
Grumpy?
unbearable.
We're going to be seeing you next Tuesday.
Yeah, hard scene.
Yeah, if he didn't have a fan on him, we were going to need to go to the gas station, buy like ice and just wrap it around him because, I mean, I like cold sleeping, but you do get like...
I'm fat and I run hot.
Right.
In the summertime, and in the wintertime, I got the beaties and my fingers are cold. No, that fan. So I did it last fall when I was out hunting and did a solo trip. I basically and we did it this time too, just to keep fresh air circulating with the propane heat. You want to be as safe as possible. I cracked a zipper and put that fan on the zippers to draw in fresh air and just aimed it at the ceiling. And it actually helped also to circulate the heat back down onto us to keep us a little bit warmer, so we didn't have to run the heater so high. We didn't have to leave it on high, full blast the whole time.
Anthony has a good point. We had 9 guys out there, so obviously somebody would get on the fish. It would be people would move in on it, and it definitely seemed like once everybody got there, that pressure slowed them way down.
Which in my mind, like makes no sense. You know what I mean? Like a lake trout eating smelt in like a group of smelt.
Yeah.
Should be like once you got baits really all coagulate or not coagulated.
It's not
Congregated.
Congregated in one area. That's a good joke because we were okay. But anyway, once they're all congregated in one area, you feel like a pot of bait. They're gonna just attack. But it was like Anthony's saying. It was as soon as you had a lot of people in one area, they did kind of shut down and they went negative. We were still marking fish, but they were negative.
Everybody did a fairly good job of like giving everybody space, though. Like you wouldn't pull up and like just jump right on top of somebody. It was 30, 40 feet away from them and drilling holes. And I agreed with you. Like I just felt like the more active things down there, you think they would get them fired up. But it definitely seemed like it was the opposite.
But this is what happened to us in the summer too, which was, I still try to wrap my head around it, is there was 3 of us in the boat. If 2 of us were jigging on one side of the boat, the fish would not follow those baits and eat. It would follow the guy that was on his own.
on his own.
Solo.
Which is asinine because it's 10 feet no matter how you slice it, but that just
I
is
think
how it
I
works.
think it's because they're looking for the bait that's different, right? They're targeting the weak bait, the wounded bait, the one that has no protection from the school.
Could be.
So they're isolating, and that could be part of it.
Could
I
be.
just came up with a theory.
Well, he's fished with us a time or two. It's nothing but
That's
all it is.
I
Theories.
mean, it's not really my theory.
it's just
But-
theories for days.
Keeps you up at night.
But yeah, it did seem to go that way though. And then after the group left, there was a couple times where we hung back and it would turn back on again. Yeah, more so for him than for me. But I think homeboy went 4-0 at one point. And I'm looking at negative fish.
It's because he's left-handed.
He is left-handed.
Which is the same as you. After I gave you so much help about it, they're like, oh, wait.
No,
never mind.
No, as far as...
But when I look at you, it's right-handed.
Yeah, whatever the video evidence says, it's the complete opposite of the argument you're making right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Evan. Do trout spook easily? I mean, I think really what maybe spooked them was the fact that there was a lot of drills, holes going. I mean, if you think about it, 9 guys converge, we're all drilling 3 holes. All of a sudden, there's
Plus cleats.
plus wheelers, plus everything
I
pulling
think
on.
I like
It's
the
clear water for 40, 50 feet.
Yeah.
I also think they educate really quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, I think if you put a hook in them, they're gone.
They're gone. I mean, even if they didn't eat, I mean, there were, of the fish that you, like, had them chase you back down, it was 1 out of every 6 or 7 that you bring all the way up that wouldn't eat. Only one of them would chase you all the way back down, and you get to do that
Again.
and play that game with them a couple times. And it wasn't always going to be that you got a hook into them. But
Right.
the majority of the time, if they followed you up and didn't eat, they bailed. There was no second crack at them. And that was kind of the...
Or not right away anyway.
At least not right away. But that was the kind of the thing was, we'd hang out, and it was, if you marked a fish every 10 minutes, you were kind of in a hot spot. And that was just kind of how that went. But if you had super negative fish that were not even interested in chasing you, not interested in what you were doing, that was all right, it's time to leave. These aren't going to be the right fish. Even though they say don't leave fish to find fish, you're leaving the wrong fish to hopefully find the right fish.
Yeah.
Which we did.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, if you guys got any more questions or anything like that, this episode will be coming out either end of this week, early next week. And we literally just got back Sunday night from this trip, so it's still fresh in our heads. We had a blast. If you guys got any questions about Fort Peck that we can try to answer for you guys, or if it's something we can't answer, if you get a hold of Scott out at Fort Peck Marina or Eddie out at the bait shop out there, those guys are super knowledgeable. They're on the ice a lot and know a lot of things going on. And if you go to their Facebook sites, they're updating people constantly. And like I said, these guys want all you guys to be successful
And safe.
And safe.
I've had so many people reach out and just be like, what are your thoughts? Your first trip out there, what are your thoughts? And you guys have heard what our thoughts are. If you can make it happen, make it happen. Now, here's a couple things to realize. Ice conditions change very, very quickly out there. We found that out last year. We were good to go, 3-4 days out from when we're going.
Not even. It was
It
6
was,
hours.
it was 6 hours, yeah.
It
Ice,
was 6 hours.
yeah, but we started hearing maybe things were going to change 3-4 days out. We made an audible. It was the right audible to make, but it was one of those things where this year we weren't going to miss it. People started ice fishing, and I sent a text message out. You guys had already kind of must have been talking about it before I even sent a message out. I'm like, this is where I'm going. Hopefully you guys can make it. And it was awesome that everybody did make it. And we had 3-4 great days of fishing on Fort Peck. And I just absolutely love the adventure. You want to go for an adventure? We called it the Western Adventure. If you guys want an adventure, Fort Peck is definitely a destination I would put in mind. I've never been out there in the summer. These guys have been. I will be going out there next summer. I think I'm forgoing the tournaments this summer, and I'm gonna take Jake to a whole lot of fishing destinations that I've got to experience ice fishing or open water that he's going to get the opportunity for, and he's perfect age to just take him and go. So I think that's what I'm going to do this summer. And Fort Peck is definitely on there. I heard you guys can't stop talking about how awesome it was this summer, and I want to experience that, and I want him to experience that. So if you guys got any questions, shoot. We'll give it a couple more minutes here, see if you guys got any. Like I said, we'll try our best to answer them. Even if it's just ice questions around the North Dakota, Minnesota area, a lot of these guys have been out and about fishing. If we haven't been on there, we've definitely talked to somebody that has and have a decent idea of what's going on. A lot of us have been on Devil's Lake and Lake of the Woods. So we kind of know what's going on there. And yeah. Other than that, you got anything to add?
I do not.
Steve, Green Bay is not out of the question. Oconto. Yeah. Reach out to Thor.
Yeah.
Clay, if you're still on there, touch base. He wants us to go fish bluegills.
Oh, that's his real fish that he has when you're done messing around. I saw that messing around with perch and walleye. Look at some real fish for you.
Yep.
Clay J.
Big bluegills. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As Mike said, we are always open for messages on Facebook or Instagram or wherever.
Definitely go back to our YouTube. If you haven't seen all the episodes we put out this year, we've got a lot of great episodes. Go back and take a look at what we've done up to this point this year. We've had a couple great times out on the ice. It's been a crazy up and down year. We haven't seen this much snow for a few years. We've had some cold weather. We've had some warm weather. It's kind of been up and down, real crazy. But fishing's been good. So, but other than that, we've been out and about. We're going to continue to be out and about. I think we're all over the COVID now. I don't know. Can we get it again after we got it once? Whatever.
I don't know the rules.
Yeah, we don't make the rules. We just live by them.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Check us out: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Thor's working really hard on that TikTok, so go check us out on TikTok.
It's a grind.
And yeah, guys, we're having a lot of fun this year. Glad you guys are tuning in tonight. Thank you guys for all the questions. Love seeing everybody out here participating. Check us out on the Real Talk and all our other social media places. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.